Good afternoon, my name is Nisa Marina Mariam for Management Batch 2017. To the Honorable Pak C. Budi Santoso Dr. M. Bus as the Head Examinator, Bu Naya Hapsari SE MSG as the Examinator Secretary, and also Pak Bayu Sutikno SE MSM PhD as the Thesis Supervisor. Today I'm gonna present my bachelor thesis about the effects of advertisements on Spotify towards consumers' attitudes. Starting from the background of the study, according to Statista, the number of internet users worldwide is more or less 3.97 billion, which is more than half of the global population, and the number keeps increasing from time to time. According to a new report by Google, Temasek Holdings, and Bain & Company, there were around 40 million new internet users in 2020 from Southeast Asia countries alone. The total number of internet users in Southeast Asia is now 70% of the whole population, which is 400 million out of 580 million people. According to Asosiasi Penyelenggara Jasa Internet Indonesia, Indonesia internet users has surpassed 196.7 million people, which is almost 75% from the total population. With the high percentage of internet usage, Indonesia is now one of the countries with the highest numbers of active music streamers. There are many platforms that can be used to stream music, but currently the world's most popular digital streaming service is Spotify. Spotify has a total of 345 million active users, and this number keeps increasing every year. Without subscribing to their premium services, Spotify will operate on a free mode, which does not allow the users to listen to music without advertisement breaks, which means that some advertisements cannot be skipped and the users are forced to listen to the advertisements. According to a survey by Jakpat mobile survey platform Indonesia about Spotify, 83% of Spotify users in Indonesia are still using the freemium package, which means they have seen and listened to the advertisements on Spotify multiple times. Therefore, the study will focus on how consumers act after being exposed to those advertisements. Now into the research problem. The previous research related to customer attitudes and purchase intentions was mainly conducted in countries with different environments than Indonesia. There are some similar studies, but the information provided about Spotify in Indonesia is still very limited. Also, it was found that more than 60% of online users ignore online advertisements and only 2.5% click through and purchase the advertised product. This could be a problem because online music streaming platforms need to be able to gain the best attitudes from their customers. They need to avoid any negative factors and improve their services, and they also need to know what Indonesian customers think about the advertisements to be able to create even better advertisements with more value. Therefore, the objective of this study is to identify the factors of advertisements on Spotify that can affect consumers' attitudes towards the advertisement that may lead to purchase intentions. The factors of advertisements used in the study are informativeness, irritation, and entertainment, with the outcome of purchase intention. The research questions will be: first, does informativeness in advertisements on Spotify about its services positively affect consumers' attitudes towards the ad? Second, does irritation in advertisements on Spotify about its services negatively affect consumers' attitudes towards the ad? Third, does entertainment in advertisements on Spotify about its services positively affect consumers' attitudes towards the ad? And last, do consumers' attitudes towards the ad positively affect consumers' purchase intention? The first theory used in the study is TRA, or Theory Reasoned Action. This theory demonstrates that attitudes are predicted by behavioral and normative beliefs. An attitude itself is defined as someone's positive or negative feelings about making an action. Meanwhile, informativeness and entertainment can also be included in the behavioral beliefs mentioned before. The second theory is the AAD model, or attitude towards the ad model. It is a response towards particular advertisements during an occasion of advertising exposure, which means that it can be considered as an essential factor for marketing and advertising strategies. AAD has been defined as the emotional reactions of consumers responding to a particular advertising stimulus during an exposure situation in either a favorable or unfavorable manner. It also has been found that attitude toward the ads has an effect on purchase intention. There will be 4 hypotheses in the study. First, informativeness positively affects attitudes toward the ad. Second, irritation negatively affects attitudes toward the ad. Third, entertainment positively affects attitudes towards the ad. And last, attitudes towards the ad positively affect purchase intention. If the hypothesis is transformed into a research model, it will be something like this. Now entering the research method. The sampling design of this research is non-probability sampling. The sample unit criteria is first, they have to be Indonesians. Second, they need to be between 70 to 65 years old. They have to at least been experiencing the service of Spotify for at least 5 months. And fourth, they were exposed to advertisements on Spotify about its services for at least 5 times. The questionnaire was made on Google Form and was spread via social media. The research object will be Spotify, and the data collection method is primary data and also secondary data. The research instrument is closed-ended questionnaire with a Likert scale from 1 to 5. And the data analysis method is a simple regression analysis and also a multiple regression analysis using IBM SPSS. Now we are entering the operational definitions. First, informativeness. It is a prominent function performed by advertisements as a good source of product information. Irritation is an advertising tactic that can be seen as annoying, offensive, insulting, or overly manipulative by consumers in an advertisement. Meanwhile, entertainment is how consumers experience pleasurable feelings, which can be measured based on how entertaining, enjoyable, or pleasing an advertisement can be. Attitudes toward the ad in the context of advertising is the outcome of how consumers think, resulting from their overall impressions towards an advertisement. And last, purchase intention is a good indicator of how consumers will act or do in the future based on their attitudes. In the context of this study, the attitudes is the attitudes towards the ad. From the respondent profiles, we can see that most of the respondents are female, they're still young, and most of them are well educated since 87% of them are enrolled as students. The length of the respondents using Spotify accounts was spread almost evenly from 5 months until more than 4 years, but still the highest percentage is 28%, and it shows that most of the total respondents have owned Spotify accounts for 1 until 2 years. Their daily Spotify usage was also spread almost evenly, but the highest percentage, 27%, shows that most of them use Spotify for 1 until 2 hours a day. From the result of the validity testing, we can see that the research sample is considered sufficient because it has a KMO value bigger than 0.5 and Bartlett's test significance value below 0.05. The research instruments are also valid because they all have factor loading values above 0.5. The result of the reliability testing also shows that all variables in this research are reliable because they have Crunchbad's alpha values above 0.6. Now into the data analysis. The normality test is used in this study to see whether the dependent and independent variables in the research model are distributed normally or not. According to the normality test, the data in the study are not normally distributed because the significance value is all below 0.05. The multi-collinearity test is used to see if a regression model does or does not have any multi-collinearity conditions between its independent variables. Also, according to the multi-collinearity test result, the independent variables in the regression model existing in the study have no multi-collinearity phenomenon because they have tolerance values above 0.1 and VIF below 10. From the descriptive statistics, we can see that irritation has the highest average value and also highest standard deviation. This result explains that most respondents found advertisements on Spotify as irritating and highly agree with the items provided in the questionnaires. The high standard deviation indicates that this variable has the widest variety of respondents' answers. Meanwhile, informativeness has the lowest average value. This indicates that many respondents are neutral toward the items provided in the questionnaire regarding the variable. But based on all average values, none of the average is lower than half of the full scales, which means that respondents tend to agree with all the provided items in the questionnaire. And attitudes toward the ad has the lowest standard deviation. This explains that respondents' answers tend to be the most similar compared to other variables in the study. The correlation between variables of this study can be seen in this table. Correlation is used to check how strong the relationships between variables are. The value stretches from -1 until +1. From the result of hypothesis testing, we can see that all hypotheses are supported. From the beta, we can see that informativeness and entertainment have positive effects towards attitudes toward the ad, meanwhile irritation has a negative effect. The value of their adjusted R-square explains that as much as 27% of attitudes towards the ad can be explained by informativeness, irritation, and also entertainment, which means that the other 73% is presented by other factors which are not parts of this model. The F value of hypothesis 1, 2, and 3, which is 25.9, is bigger than F calculate, which means that informativeness, irritation, and entertainment significantly affect attitudes toward the ad. And this also happens in hypothesis 4. We can see from the beta that attitude towards the ad have a positive effect toward purchase intention. Based on the result of its adjusted R-square, it explains that consumer attitudes toward the ad can be explained as much as 5.1% by purchase intention, which means the other 94.9% is explained by the other factors outside the model. For the F value of hypothesis 4, it's also bigger than the F calculate, which means that attitudes toward the ad significantly affect purchase intentions. In conclusion, all advertising factors in this study do affect customers' attitudes toward the ad. All hypotheses from hypothesis 1 until 4 are all supported, which means informativeness and entertainment do positively affect attitudes towards the ad, meanwhile irritation does negatively affect attitudes towards the ad, and the attitudes towards the ad itself positively affect purchase intentions. The more informative an advertisement, the more it will positively affect consumers' attitudes toward the ad. An advertisement will be considered irritating and result in customers' negative attitudes when using too much annoying techniques. The more entertaining aspects planted in advertisement, the more it will positively affect consumers' attitudes toward the ad. And consumers' attitudes towards an ad can be included as one of the factors that affect purchase intention positively. If the attitudes are positive, consumers will have greater chances to purchase the products or services advertised. The managerial implications will be first, the marketer should emphasize how much information an advertisement should have. With other attributes, they may assume that the customers is an active user seeking specific information. Second, they need to reduce any irritating factors in advertisement by avoiding using any kind of annoying content and manipulative techniques. They also need to emphasize how entertaining an advertisement should be. And last, they must combine good attributes and also avoid the negative attributes to increase the chance of a purchase intention. Lastly, the limitations of this study. Because the questionnaire used to gather the data was spread to social media, it only reached mostly young adults, which made the range of ages of the respondents less diverse. The valid data used in this study is only 203 people, which is very small compared to the actual number of Spotify users in Indonesia. And this study cannot be used to generalize other media of advertising, such as televisions, radios, and etc. Therefore, the suggestions for future researchers is first to spread the questionnaire to a larger sample to get more diverse and unique data, and then to test this study to different kinds of advertising media, and last to find other factors that affect purchase intentions. That's all from me. Thank you very much.